ground crews, passengers, cabin crews, pilots, all reported their ghostly apparitions, and their sightings are recorded no less than on 20 separate occasions, maybe even more, as others may not have been recorded or forwarded. In his book, The Ghost of Flight 401, by John G. Fuller, the author stated that he didn't believe their appearances were that of hauntings. He said they were more like that of concerned ghosts, apparitions that were there to help and to protect the safety of passengers, crews, and aircraft. He was absolutely right. Ghosts or spirit, when they appear, do frighten. They do scare and terrify. Our minds don't know how to handle these situations when they fall into the realms of outside rationality, and so, in human error, we attach the nearest label applicable, in this case, haunting. Yes, their appearances had all those hallmarks, but in true essence they were not responsible for such a terrible thing. The only thing they were responsible for was caring for others. In fact, it may be said they saved more lives on other aircraft in the fleet than those which were lost at their own site. Bob Loft appeared many times. He was seen beside parked aircraft by ground crews, and is reported to have conversed with them. As they watched him climb the steps to enter the aircraft, he disappeared before their eyes. On another occasion, he was seen by a stewardess sitting in the first-class compartment of an in-flight L-1011. She approached and asked who he was, because she didn't recognize him. After he failed to answer, she went to the flight deck and brought back the captain of the aircraft. He vanished into thin air before their eyes, and in front of a dozen passengers. Dom Repo also appeared. He was seen in the galley many times. On one occasion it is reported he fixed a faulty oven circuit. On another occasion he appeared before a passenger on an L-1011 to another airline. When checked, the aircraft belonged to Eastern Airlines and was being leased. He is also reported to have forewarned of danger.
Watch out for fire on this airplane, Gil.
Oh, dear God. Dear God, oh, dear God.
Eastern Airlines removed and replaced flight logs and all information relating to the ghost stories. They sent crews to a psychiatrist under the proviso, if you don't attend, you stay grounded. They also reassigned crews. As the implemented parts from Flight 401 were removed from aircraft, their appearances became less frequent. Dom Repo was last seen on the flight deck of an L-1011. His final words have rang true ever since, and his voice was captured by the cockpit voice recorder at that time.
Extreme turbulence near altitude. Approach with caution.
There will never be another crash of an L-1011.
Many years have passed since that dreadful accident in 1972. Many people have forgiven the flight crew, but in my mind, they still need to be exonerated. How can we accuse of pilot error where a faulty light bulb is concerned? How can we accuse of pilot error when we did not train or prepare them for such an event? Blame it on human error, yes, but as a whole, not just as a part that involves the flight crew. On a happier note, this is from 2008 by NBC News.
Here at home, a gathering in appreciation of a man many call a hero for the life-saving actions he took 35 years ago this weekend. His efforts in that time of crisis have never been formally recognized until now. Here's NBC's Kristen Dahlgren.
For Bud Marcus, 35 years has flown by.
I mean, I can close my eyes and I can see the crash site just as I come up on it the night of the crash.
He's led a quiet life, maybe because of the sounds he heard that night.
People yelling and screaming for help.
Eastern Airlines Flight 401 was on its way from New York to Miami when it plunged into the Everglades.
Peter, what was your last thing you remember now on this crash? I don't remember nothing, man.
Nearby on his airboat, Marcus saw the crash.
I just saw this big ball of fire just boil up out of the Everglades on the horizon.
101 people died, but thanks to the extraordinary heroism of an ordinary guy, 75 survived.
People upside down in their seats, still strapped in their seats, that were drowning, and he flipped them up. He went into the burning fuselage 3 times.
Years later, Marcus's health was failing. His airboat was falling apart when word of his plight spread. The Florida airboat community and crash survivors got together, rebuilt his boat, and decided to recognize the man they call the Angel of the Everglades. So on Saturday, 35 years after bringing them out of the swamp, Marcus led some of them back in.
We're here today to recognize and to say thank you.
More than 100 airboats gathered at the crash site, carrying 50 survivors and family members. Beverly Raposa was a flight attendant that night.
And then to hear that sound of that boat coming, it's like, oh, they have found us.
Survivors now want to put a permanent memorial on this site to remember those who didn't make it out alive and honor the reason so many of them did.
Lives torn apart by tragedy, once again brought together by a man, an airboat, and an incredible act. Kristen Dahlgren, NBC News, the Everglades.
If you'd like to help, where the building of a memorial is concerned for Flight 401 at the crash site, here is the address where donations can be sent.